design and build modern experiences with Office UI, Fabric, and Fluent. I'm Peter John. I'm a UX engineering manager in the OneDrive and SharePoint Design Studio.
And my name's Adam Ford. I'm a senior designer for OneDrive and SharePoint. And I work on Fabric, design, and build SharePoint web parts.
Awesome. Now, before we get started, can I get a quick show of hands, just so I know what kind of audience we're working with? Who here has heard of Office UI Fabric before this? Excellent, excellent. Who here has used it in an app or web part? Oh, perfect, awesome. Now, who has contributed a pull request or opened an issue against it? All right, I'm inviting you guys to be here later. Let's get started. So if you pay attention to nothing else today, these are kind of the takeaways that Ed and I are going to be going through. So I'm going to be giving a quick kind of review of Office UI Fabric for those of you who didn't raise your hand. I'm going to be talking about what the project is, who it's for, what's kind of included in it from a technical perspective, and also go over how Fabric is used within Microsoft and how that kind of benefits you as a developer. Then Adam is going to talk about kind of the design of Fabric, the kind of design elements, the toolkits, and some best practices and tips for how to design applications and web parts using Fabric. And then we're both going to be giving a kind of demo and an overview of Fabric and Fluent and how they work together, talking about what Fluent is, the Fluent design system from Microsoft, and then how to start previewing these Fluent styles with your Fabric app today. So, before we get into the content of this, if you've been to any of the other OneDrive and SharePoint development platform sessions, you might have seen this slide. So just a quick refresher about how Fabric kind of fits into the ecosystem. Fabric is what we call the UX platform within the OneDrive and SharePoint platform, focused all about the UI, interactions, things like that. And there's a couple of other talks up here. Most of them have already happened, but you can check out the recordings for them. And they cover the app platform through the SharePoint framework and the data platform through the Microsoft Graph. So you can use all three of these together to create end-to-end front-end and back-end experiences that can extend Office 365. And if you've got some time after this one, BRK3319 is starting right after, and this shows you how to kind of use the Graph with OneDrive and SharePoint. So make sure to go to that if you've got some time to kill. And so with that, let's get right into it. So those of you who raised your hand earlier probably already know the answer to this question, but for those who haven't, Office UI Fabric is what we call the official UX framework for building experiences that fit seamlessly into Office, Office 365, and increasingly in Microsoft applications across the company. But what you might not know is that internally, it's also a framework that designers and engineers use to build kind of coherent web experiences across Microsoft. So this is actually the stuff that we use to build web products like OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook, and more. And so you might be wondering, well, what is included in a UX framework? What does Fabric consist of? It's kind of three main parts. There's a set of code for developers through the Fabric Core and Fabric React projects. It's a set of toolkits, guidance, and other resources for designers. Adam's going to be showing a little bit more about those. And then there's rich documentation for both designers and developers, all on the Fabric website, uifabric.io. So with that, let's get a quick 10,000-foot overview of the code projects, Fabric Core and Fabric React. So the first one, Fabric Core, this is essentially what we would think of as kind of the atomic styles. These are simple CSS-only styles that kind of represent our design language. So these are things like fonts and typography, iconography, branded assets, things like the file type icons and product logos and more, animation and motion helpers. So these are simple CSS kind of utilities, no UI controls. That's what the next feature is about. And Fabric Core and Fabric React, like all Fabric projects, are open source on GitHub. You can see that link at the bottom there. And the second project I'll spend a little bit more time on is Fabric React. Now, most of you who raised your hand probably are familiar with Office UI Fabric React, and this is the kind of controls package. So this is all the UI controls and utilities that you would use to actually build the interactive parts of your app with. Things like inputs, buttons, text fields, drop-downs, pickers, lists, all the same stuff that we use to build our products with are consistent in here. But there's also utilities for things like accessibility. This is a super important part of modern application development. We want to make sure that not only are we building our products with accessibility in mind up front, but we're providing the tools to do that as well. So providing utilities to help manage keyboard focus, or the properties for adding screen reader tags, all of that is built into Fabric React from the get-go. But the next part that you might not be familiar with is that Fabric React, the code repository, actually consists of a bunch of other packages. It's what we would call a monorepo. So not only do we publish the React controls, but we publish a number of additional packages that you can use to kind of build your app with as well. And some of these are on the right here. There's a couple more that I haven't listed yet. But some of them include the @UIFabric styling package. So these are all of the Fabric core styles in JavaScript. And so these include type safety and IntelliSense. This is what you would use if you're building a web part and you want to use Fabric core in a kind of type-safe manner. There's also, like I said, the file type icons. If you've used OneDrive, SharePoint, or any other files experience, these are the same file type icons that we're using through those that we've open source made available for you as well. Merge styles is a library for using CSS in JavaScript that kind of allows you to write CSS in a TypeScript way. In a type-safe way with TypeScript. And this is what you would use if you wanted to kind of extend and customize Fabric React. There's also a kind of early charting and dashboarding library that would show up in, among other cases, like an admin or dashboard experience. And then finally, the experiments package. And you want to take note of this one. This is what we're going to be talking about later in the Fluent portion of this. But the experiments package is what we kind of think of as the staging ground for new controls and features in Fabric React that get published before they kind of become mainstream production ready. This is kind of our testing ground. So that's a 10,000-foot kind of overview of what's in Fabric. Now I want to give you a quick visual overview of who all in Microsoft is using Fabric. Like I said, Fabric is a framework that we use extensively within the company. And you can see from this grid that there's quite a few names up here that you're probably familiar with when you think of Office. Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, and more. But like I said, over the years, as Fabric has kind of grown and more engineers within the company have discovered it and kind of contributed to it, non-Office products have adopted it and contributed to it extensively as well. One of the ones that I want to call out especially is Azure DevOps, recently renamed from Visual Studio Team Services. This is actually one of the first kind of big, what we would call partners of Fabric React when it started out a couple of years ago. And if you've used any of their kind of modern experiences, you'll find that almost everything is actually built using Fabric to some extent. And then even newer additions to the Microsoft family, like MileIQ, who want to kind of quickly onboard and start using Microsoft's design language without fully rewriting all their app, also use Fabric to kind of quickly get onboarded there as well. But in addition to these products, there's over 45 additional products and sites across Microsoft that use Fabric as well. And many of these are teams that don't have a dedicated design team and who maybe aren't interested in kind of rewriting or redefining what a button or a text field kind of looks like and want to move on to solving harder problems. And so with that, I now want to give a couple of quick visual examples of what I mean when I say that Fabric helps us build consistent and coherent experiences across a bunch of products. And so first, let's take a look at OneDrive. So now, as Adam and I mentioned, we're both on the OneDrive and SharePoint design team. And so as you'd expect, both of these products use quite a bit of Fabric within them. And so besides just the core icons, animations, colors, and styles that you can see when you load it up, there's also a number of Fabric React controls that are used through some of the core experiences. And I've called a couple of them out up here. The command bar, details list, and contextual menu you can see right when you load the OneDrive files view. So remember these ones as we go and look at SharePoint document library, which shares many of the same controls and patterns as OneDrive. And so because modern SharePoint uses a lot of these same controls, you'll see the same kind of consistent look and feel, the same behaviors, and setting the same kind of user expectations when moving between OneDrive, SharePoint, and other apps in the Office ecosystem. And because we're talking about SharePoint right now, I'd also like to call out, for those who haven't heard that the modern SharePoint framework, which you can use to create web parts to extend communication team sites, actually includes Fabric React out of the box so that you can create web parts that look and feel like Microsoft, just like that. But let's now take a look at a product that doesn't, it's not what you would think of as Office, Azure DevOps, which is what I mentioned before. Now, you'll see here that they're using the same controls, the same details list, command bar, and contextual menu as OneDrive and SharePoint. And so as a user navigates between their files and then goes to kind of manage their code or their pipelines, they're kind of getting the same feel, the same kind of responses from all of these controls. Now, one cool point that I really want to call out when looking at DevOps here is that not only does Fabric help us within the company ensure that we look and feel consistent and are setting the same expectations, sharing code and design assets helps us work together in ways that in the past we might not have as closely, and so we're encountering the same problems and fixing them all the same. So if, for example, Azure DevOps encounters a rendering issue in details list, which has happened a number of times, we've encountered bugs, we'll find those same bugs happening in OneDrive, SharePoint, and Outlook. And when they go and submit an issue and then submit a fix for it, they'll find that same issue both reproduced and get fixed across all of these products. And so you see that by sharing code, sharing design assets, we're able to hold ourselves collectively to a much higher standard for quality and accessibility that you as third-party developers extending Microsoft as a platform benefit from as well when you build your own extensions on top of Fabric. And so with that, I'm now going to hand it over to Adam, who's going to talk about the design of Fabric.
Thanks, Peter. So now that we've looked at what's available in Fabric, get a better understanding of how we use Fabric at Microsoft to help our products look and feel more cohesive, we'll go ahead and look a little bit more deeper into the design of Fabric. We'll share some Fabric toolkits and other design resources. We'll talk a little bit about how we're introducing Fluent, which is the Microsoft design system, into Fabric and share some examples. And we'll also go through a demo of an app built entirely in Fabric. So we'll show you the parts of the design, how we leverage the toolkits to build this, and Peter will show you how we actually build that using Fabric React. So how many people here have actually used one of the toolkits or they're aware about the design toolkits? Just a few of you, okay. So my goal today is to encourage people to try these out. They're really useful in laying out the design of your app and understanding and communicating the user experience. So what is the Fabric Design Toolkit? The Fabric Design Toolkit should be thought of as a sticker sheet of all the various components that make up Fabric Core and Fabric React. It's a really easy to...
I want to advance.
Thank you. No, it moved.
I got you.
Okay, and the Fabric Design Toolkit is really a resource that you should leverage when designing your app. And we had a few goals in mind when we were building these toolkits. The first one was really having a centralized design resource aimed at improving our products, making sure we were aligned across Microsoft on our quality and look and feel. A library of living assets that are really constantly evolving. This allows all the teams to be up to date and always on the current specs. Again, there's consistency between what the designers are doing and what the developers are doing. It's cross-platform, so on the design side, that's a little bit more within the context of Microsoft, but we definitely want to get feedback on these design resources, and you can reach out to us and give your input on our GitHub project. We also have it available on Adobe Experience Designer, which is available on the Mac and PC, so it's multi-platform, and also on Sketch, which is a popular Mac-based design tool. And most importantly, it's available for everyone here to use, so you guys can build products with Microsoft Fabric and use the same tools that we're using. So let's take a little bit deeper look on what is exactly in the toolkits. Again, like I was saying, it's a sticker sheet, and you can really leverage these quite easily. That includes the design language, which includes the colors, typography, icons. These would be things that come from Fabric Core. We also provide some tools that will show that makes sort of specking out your design and the intended behavior and user flow easy. Design specs for the components, so these would be all the various interactive states, the responsive behaviors, and the usage guidance. These would be things like, on the simple side, a button, more complex, something like a date picker. And UX flow templates, which are responsive layout templates, more of the surfaces and patterns that we use at Microsoft. So these would be things like a dialogue, property panes, some navigational controls. And these are really useful in a lot of ways to spec out what your application will look at in the Office ecosystem. And of course, downloads, so you can download our Sego UI font, the Fabric icon font, use those in your applications, including the branded assets that Peter was talking about. So again, the file type icons, we've heard from a lot of customers that they really like to have access to those so they can leverage them in their apps. Okay, and so next I want to talk a little bit about some other design toolkits that are available to use. So these are really useful if you're building a web part or an add-in. And the first one to talk about really is the SharePoint toolkit. So this is available in Adobe XD, and we're going to be bringing it to Sketch soon. The goal is to create parity with all these toolkits, because if you're building something specific, let's say for a web part, and you're going to leverage Fabric, it's great to use these hand in hand. And these include things like the responsive page grids. So if you're building a web part for a team site and a communication site, understanding how to leverage the property pane in SharePoint, how our responsive grid works for the different column layouts. And also, there's one available for Office add-ins. So this is very similar in lots of ways, and it provides resources for building Office add-ins in terms of their design patterns, what's available, and examples for building add-ins for Word and Excel and PowerPoint. So an example of this would be if I had to build a web part for SharePoint, I would start with the page template in Adobe XD for a communication site, let's say, and then I would pull in the Fabric components to lay out my design. And we'll show you exactly what that looks like in our app demo. So now I want to talk a little bit about Fluent and what it means for Fabric. We get a lot of questions about what is Fluent, how it's different from Fabric, are they the same thing? And Fluent is really Microsoft's design system that aims to make our products more cohesive and adaptable across Microsoft. It's really about the design styles across Microsoft and the behaviors. And you'll see these as stylistic elements as we bring the design system into Fabric. We get a lot of questions about, well, there's some Fluent styles that are used in UWP apps that aren't necessarily practical on the web. And we're totally aware of that. We're definitely concerned with browser support and performance. So we've been looking at what do we bring over to create consistency across all apps, including what we're doing on the web. But we also want to make sure that the apps you are building are performant and that we're providing a good interpretation of those styles for Fabric. So in a nutshell, I want to really emphasize that the Microsoft Fluent design system is really an evolution of those styles. It's really based on the principles of what we call our shared look and feel. It's not drastic changes that are going to completely change what you're used to, what we have today in Office UI Fabric. And when Fluent becomes available for Fabric, you'll pick up these styles by default. The great thing that we're offering is a preview of what we're calling the Microsoft UI Fabric preview, and a way for you to check these out today. And let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see on screen, this is our preview site for Microsoft UI Fabric. We provide some guidance in terms of what it is. If you're not familiar with Fluent, there's also a link here for the overall Fluent design system site. We'll provide guidance here in terms of updates of what we're releasing. You can follow this along on the GitHub project. And then also a way that you can preview the Fluent updates in your apps you have today. And Peter will show exactly how to do that in the demo. To give a little bit more context, let's look at the components available. For example, we have a breadcrumb here, and we've built this so you can see a preview of the before and after the Fluent styles are applied. So as I drag this, you'll see a subtle change here. And you'll notice that the typography has changed. It's gotten a little bit bolder, a little bit easier to read. So a lot of these improvements will affect the user experience for the end users using your applications. And then a button is another example of something that's pretty subtle. It might be even actually hard to see on the screen. I can zoom in on our app example. And what's happening here is the corners are getting slightly rounded. And you might be thinking, well, that's really minor change. And I think the point to make is when you bring these things together in something that's more of a composed UI, in this example, a dialogue. So today, this is our current dialogue that you would get with Office UI Fabric. And if you make it Fluent, you'll see that bigger change. So the point here is really like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And once all these things are brought together, you'll see more of an impact in the more subtle changes that you might see on the more granular component level. We've also contained and show things like colors and typography and guidance how to use these. This will include usage suggestions of where you use it, what sizes you'd use it on, for instance, the core classes and the React variable. So again, similar to what we have on Office UI Fabric, a way to leverage what we're bringing in to Fabric with Fluent. So now let's jump over and look at the toolkit. So the design toolkit here, this is the version that we have, and it's also actually the Fluent version that we're building in Adobe Sketch. So this is a demo version for today. And again, to give you that idea of how this really looks and feels and how you could leverage it in your designs, it's, again, that sticker sheet. So here you can see the tools we offer, and it's really robust as well. So if I zoom in here, you'll understand a little bit more in terms of like the icons we provide that you would use in your applications. These are really easy to leverage in the designs. As you know, you've probably leveraged them potentially with the Fabric core styles. So again, it's that parity, that one-to-one. We also included some extra things, some tools that you could leverage in your applications in terms to spec out the intended behaviors, like inputs and scroll bars, accessibility spec items, and so on. It also includes other items that are more core to the Fabric React components. These things are things like the typography, more of the controls around depth. So this is a new item that's coming with Fluent. And you'll understand a little bit more of how you could leverage these in your designs. So there's different depth layers here. So if you want to draw more attention to something, it might have more of a more depth to it, more of a box shadow around it versus one that's more subtle, something that's new with the Fluent updates. Of course, we have basic inputs. So these things are, buttons and the various other UI elements. So if I zoom in here on the buttons, you'll understand that, that we have all the interactive states here that you would see in your application, and it really helps to describe what your user flow will be and the expectation for the developer, and if you're doing both, really a way to communicate it out to potential stakeholders that are interested in what you're building. Includes navigational elements. Again, we've included things like our suite nav Chrome bar in Office, so you could mock up what your app will look like in the context of Office 365. And all this is wrapped up in a symbol library. So this makes it really easy to leverage them in the designs, and I'll show you what this looks like in a few minutes. So now let's jump over to the task app demo. So here I've been working on a task app that Peter and I will think will be really useful for our team. One of the core ideas here is that it's really simple. We encourage simplicity, concise UI, ways to think about organizing the hierarchy of your information, leveraging the Fabric components to make it easy for the end users to understand. And this is the version that is built, like if you were going to use the Office UI Fabric components today. So this does not have the Fluent styles applied, but you can see this is completely made up of the various components. So we've included some type, obviously. So we're describing the title and what to do here with your task. We have things like input fields and buttons, pivot controls from Fabric, checkboxes, the persona control, small list view. So these are all coming directly from the toolkit and what's available in Fabric. When designing an app, it's also important to think about the responsive behavior. We encourage that, as pretty much everything we're building today is all responsive. We think about what device it's going to be on. So I encourage people, when they're designing their applications using Fabric, to really consider this. So in this case, it's on a mobile phone, and it's a pretty simple app. So we're just thinking about scaling down the width of those columns and the various list items so that you can see the components for the add a task input field is also scaled down appropriately. So now I want to talk briefly about leveraging the tools available in the toolkit. Accessibility is really important, so we want to make sure people are thinking about accessibility from the start. So when I'm designing an app with Fabric, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'm laying it out, how might people proceed using keyboard navigation? So we've provided these easy plug-and-play indications to communicate the behavior. So for example, 1 through 5 here is indicating the tab order, and the arrows are indicating the arrowing behavior. There's more detail and resources available for accessibility if you really want to dive into this and figure out how to leverage these with the toolkit. And then again, the screen reader labels. So again, similar, we're trying to visually really mark what these are and communicate the intended behavior with these screen reader labels, what their names are, what should be read out when they're focused on, and the hints for the end user. So as we jump back over to talk about the Fluent changes, here is a before and after when you're using the toolkits to design of what it looked like for our previous version and what it looks like after. So you'll notice there's some subtle changes, but the typography has changed. There's more use of depth around the shadows. The corners of these buttons and these drop-downs are rounded. There's a little bit more emphasis and clarity around the hierarchy of the app. And as I've been looking at this, working with Peter, we were thinking, it'd be nice to really delete a portion, actually any individual task, and we probably need a dialogue for that. So this dialogue is from Fabric. You can see how, if you clicked on an individual item, we could bring up the dialogue, a confirmation to delete the task, and those changes that were applied as we incorporated the Fluent styling. So Peter, I think we're missing something. Maybe a progress indicator? How do you feel about that?
That's it. I think that's what we could use.
Okay. So this point is going to really emphasize how easy it is to use these toolkits. So because we've created a symbol library, you can go up and say insert, and you can go down to the symbol library in Sketch, for example, which is here. And I know I want a progress indicator. So these are all broken up. I go down to progress and validation, and I know I want a determinant indicator with a string. So I'm going to click on that, and then I can easily just place what I want on the canvas here and stretch it out. And then I can just go over here and change the text here. So I want to say your team's progress. And then we're going to change this to one of, X number of tasks complete. So hopefully this shows how easy it is to use. I really encourage people, even if potentially they're not a designer full-time, maybe you wear both hats, to try to check these out. They're really easy to use. It's a really good way to communicate the intended behavior of your applications. So now that I've shown you what this looks like, a little bit more in-depth look at the design of Fabric, turn it over to Peter, who's going to walk through what this looks like when you're actually building it with Fabric Core and Fabric React.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adam. Let me just log in here and switch on over. Now, I have done a little bit of homework, and I've actually spent a little bit of time building most of the app that Adam was just demoing here. But there's a couple of things missing, namely the progress indicator that we just showed and the Fluent styles. And so in this demo, I'm going to quickly run through how to add a component to a React app using the website, and then also showing how to kind of opt in an app to the Fluent styles. So a quick overview, this is the app I've built. You can see how it works. There's a lot of Fabric components over here, a text box, button. I can go ahead and add a task with a very sensible name. And you can see that they respond to my click behaviors. And I can even delete them like Adam was talking about. This shows this dialog. Now, note the look and feel of this dialog right now for when we go and look at the Fluent styles. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now we'll jump over to the code for this. And the two things I want to call out here are that the title up here could definitely use some text styles, and there's no progress indicator like I mentioned. So let's go over to Visual Studio Code and take a quick look at the app that I've built. Now, who here has used React so far, or used, okay, quite a few of you guys. Anyone use like Create React App? Couple. So for those who haven't, Create React App is the tool that I used for this. It's basically just a tool provided by Facebook that allows you to quickly bootstrap a really simple React application with all the little bits that you'll need to start using any kind of React library like Fabric. So if I open up the sidebar here, you can see the project structure. It's insanely simple. There's just an app JS file here, which contains almost everything, all the markup for the app. And then a task manager, which I'm just going to show you here. Task manager just acts as an incredibly simple hand-wavy kind of backend for this app. You can see here there's a kind of list of the kind of pre-supplied tasks that I have. And if I go down here, a couple of like really simple helper functions to kind of read the total versus completed versus the percentage. And so these are just helpers to kind of display data from here. So that's the app structure in a nutshell. So if I go back to app.js, and actually here, maybe I'll make the font size a little bit bigger and then close the sidebar so we can see a bit more. So we can see here that I'm importing all of those Fabric React controls that you saw on the page earlier. And just to skim through here, we'll go down to the main render function. And we will see that there's these render functions for each of the kind of main areas of the app. And the one that I'm really interested in is render progress. This is the placeholder for where we want to render the progress indicator. So if I go down to that definition here, we'll see here's where I want that progress indicator to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the Fabric website, uifabric.io, and basically just follow Adam's instruction here. And so I'm going to go to the components. And I know because the toolkit and the website have the same categories that I go to progress and validation, and I find the progress indicator. I go there, and we see all the kind of rich design documentation that we were talking about before. Like I said at the beginning, Fabric is a tool for both designers and engineers. And so as I scroll down, here's what I want. I want this default example, and it's got everything that I want, everything kind of plugged in. So I'm going to show the code for that. And there's a whole lot of junk in here from just this sample, which is useful to know about. But all that I really need is this sample markup with all the props kind of filled in. So I'm going to take that, copy that, go back to the app, go ahead and paste this in. Awesome. I had no idea that was happening, but thank you. I know that because I pasted this in from the website, man, I wish I'd known about that when I was rehearsing. That's awesome. Thank you. So now I know that this is going to fail because % complete has not actually been defined. So let's just give it a kind of hard-coded value right now. Oh, that's right. It's failing because I haven't actually imported progress indicator. So let's go ahead and fix that. Go and import progress indicator. Fingers crossed. Save. Drum roll. And go back. Check what's in the oven. And there we go, progress indicator. But it's not actually live and working, so why don't we go ahead and do that? And because I'm running a little bit out of time, and I knew that would happen, I actually have a little bit of, I've done a little bit of extra homework, and I've pre-populated a snippet with some of the kind of helper functions from Task Manager already plugged in. So I'm going to go back to render progress and just paste that in here. Now, I'm not a big believer in just demo magic here. And so just to explain really briefly what this is, all that I'm doing is I'm replacing some of the props for progress indicator with some of the helpers from task manager. So all this is doing is getting the completed number of tasks from the total tasks and then the calculation for percent complete. Nothing wizardry here. So if I save that and then go back to the app, we'll see that now it's reflecting the state of the app. So as I complete, we'll see that these tasks are being reflected in the progress indicator down below with the same animations that we use in like OneDrive when you're uploading a file, which is I think pretty cool. So that's great, you might say, but now how do I take this progress indicator and all the other controls and kind of make them fluent? So that's the one thing that's missing now. So I'll go back to the app, and we'll start at the import statement again. Now, the cool thing about the Fluent styles that we're introducing here is that all of these are going to be their kind of preview, opt-in. If you're using Fabric React right now, you can use these today with no additional changes to your app other than using a simple experiments package import, which I'll show you in a second. And like I said, these are all available right now so that when the Fluent styles become the default later this year, you will already have access to them. You'll know what your apps will look like, and you can be prepared so that the minor changes still don't take you by surprise. So the first thing that we're going to want to do to make this happen is let's import a special control called the customizer. Now, if you're familiar with React terminology, customizer is what we call a higher order component that you would wrap another set of controls in to kind of apply additional behaviors to. And so that's what customizer does. It basically allows you to apply customizations, styles, and other kind of changes to a particular region of your app. And so that's what we're doing here. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to import the Fluent styles. And I've done a little bit of more homework because this is a little bit of a long import path, but I have a little snippet here to import the Fluent styles. And so all that these are is an object called Fluent Customizations. And these include all of the font styles, color theme, and component style overrides that Adam demoed on the Microsoft UI Fabric site earlier. And these are all available from the @UiFabric experiments package that I talked about. And so now that I've imported both of those, I'm now going to go back to the main render function of my app. So I'm going to scroll down there. And all I need to do is simply wrap this section in the customizer. So I'm going to do that, customizer, and then pass in the Fluent Customizations object using the ES6 spread operator. So this is a little magical, but if you're not familiar, what this basically just does is this takes an object and just kind of spreads the properties out as though you were adding each property individually. So now, because VS Code is my friend and auto-completes that, I'm going to go ahead and take the closing tag, move it down there, indent this because I'm feeling particularly neurotic right now. Go ahead and save, refresh, and then if this worked, okay, great. Everything looks drastically different, right? So we'll see that the Fluent customizations have been applied, and executives will be enraged at the mass differences here. No, but in all seriousness, you can see that the rounded corners for the buttons and text fields have been applied. Checkboxes reflect that as well. And if I go ahead and try to delete a task, we'll see that dialog with that kind of more voluminous kind of shadow and bolder text being applied to it. So now that we've done that, the last thing I want to do is show you how to use the Fabric Core Fluent styles. So everything I just showed you is JavaScript, React. If you're using React, that's great. You can opt into all of these Fluent styles, and they'll just take effect without any extra work. But we also provide some Fluent styles right now for Fabric Core in case you have like a custom app or custom components that you want to apply Fluent styles to as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the SCSS file. And for those who aren't familiar, SCSS is just a preprocessor for CSS. It has variables, mix-ins, and other goodies. Fabric Core has been available in SCSS for a couple of years. And so to start using the Fluent styles for Fabric Core, all you do is import the Fluent package for Office UI Fabric Core to package.json. And you have access to those same mix-ins. And so what I want to do now is take this rather blasé, useless title and make it a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. And I know from going to the Fabric Preview website that there are a couple of font sizes and weights, like font weight semi-bold and font weight 28, that I want to apply. Now, as you can see by now, I'm a pretty good student, and I've done a little bit of work just to make for a quick demo, and I've included them down here. But all you need to do is take those same mix-ins and pass them to your custom CSS, and go ahead and save that. And then I go back to the app. Oops, the daisies. Just running on caffeine here. We'll see now that those mix-ins that you got from the Fluent for Fabric site are now applied to the typography. So that is how you use Fabric React and Fabric Core to apply Fluent to an app. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, with only a couple minutes left, and I know there will probably be a few questions, let's take it back to the slides. Luckily, we've spent almost all of our slides, so we're just a couple left. The last things to take away, just before you leave today, are that all the Fluent styles that we just showed you for Fabric Core and Fabric React are available now, and I encourage everybody, if you're using them, to try these out. And then later this year, aiming around December, should be the default Fabric Fluent styles. We're shooting to have a refreshed website and the same toolkit that Adam was demoing available around that time as well. And there's a couple of additional resources for Fabric on the bottom here that you should probably take a picture of. The preview site is at the top left there. The main Fabric site is available at uifabric.io. And then there's a couple of other ones that I'll let you check out later that can help you kind of both design and build using Fabric. So with that, next steps, like I said, try out the Fabric for Fluent styles. Let us know how they are. If you have any questions for them, we basically live on GitHub and Twitter. And so if you have questions, feedback, try these out, let us know, and we'll try to incorporate them into a future release. Then also, make sure to check out BRK3319 happening at 12:30. This will show you how to use the back-end portion of the graph so that you can kind of combine that with Fabric. And then check out the recordings for the other one of SharePoint development talks earlier. Last thing, we have a booth. I think a bunch of you here I can see have been there already, but we're in the Intelligent Edge section of the Developer Tools part of the expo. Come and visit us. You can get a deeper dive that's not quite as harried. And so, we'll, come swing by, get a Fabric tote bag, and learn more. Make sure you sign up for the Office 365 Developer Program, and register for and attend a global O365 Developer Bootcamp. And so, with that, also make sure, please let us know what you thought of this session. Make sure to scan the QR code out front. I really mean it. This feedback is super valuable. I gave a talk last year, and the feedback from that was insanely valuable for helping prepare for future ones. So really appreciate any feedback that you have for the talk. And with that,
thanks.
Thank you.